Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. So today we have attorney Shaobin to talk about IP production law with his extended experience in IP litigation in U.S. district courts and much more. So we're really excited to see his presentation today. You can begin whenever you're ready.
Yeah, Julia and everyone, thank you for inviting me to share with you about IP protection in robotics and intelligent or smart transportation. So this is a very interesting area, and every day we are talking about artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, cloud computing, big data, and Internet of Things, and etc., and also smart cities. So actually, they are related. So we can all can combine them into one terminology. We either call it intelligent transportation system or smart transportation system. Seems a lot of people, and including probably Julia and many of you, call it smart transportation. And Department of Transportation of the United States, they call it Intelligent Transportation System, or ITS. So I'll just use the ITS, or Intelligent Transportation, to refer the smart transportation. I'm going to present this in 4 sections. Introduction part, IP risk management, and patent monetization, and patent or IP protection strategies. So by the way, Julia, do you want me to stop in the middle if someone raises any questions, or you want me to finish the whole presentation?
Yeah, so the questions will be at the end of the presentation, so you can finish.
How long do you expect, or do you assign to me for the presentation itself?
So that would be around 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
All right. Yeah.
So before we're talking about ITS, let's take a look at the components of the SP500 market value. So this other data was from year of 2010, but it's about the same, probably still about the same. You can see that the blue part is intangible assets. So which means basically that is IP, intellectual property. So you can see that over 40 years ago, less than 50 years ago, about half century ago, so the company's majority of the asset really just tangible, like hardware or any kind of like your building or other assets. So, but gradually in 2010, so probably many of you just at that time probably you still not enter the elementary or about enter elementary if you are about same age as Julia. So just 2010, so 80%, probably by now more than 85%, close to 90% of the SP500's value actually is the just intellectual property, or called the intangible assets. So today we're talking about IP protection. I think you guys as kind of way ahead of the old generation. So in my generation, we never heard about intellectual property, and until I was in college and taking a class. That was like after I got into college, then that's the first time heard this. Probably you guys already heard this name when you were like in the kindergarten or even preschool. So you can see that IP protection is the key to the success of company, and of course the IP risk management is also the key to the success of company. So smart transportation is really, according to the Department of Transportation, it's about management, efficiency, and safety. You can see all vehicles and infrastructures, passengers, drivers, city management team, and public transportation operators. They all connected by Internet of Things, by telecommunication, by all kind of means. So we all connected. We are in a smart transportation system. We are in a smart city. So regarding the technology trends, you can see that adoption of the artificial intelligence, deep learning, of course, the cloud computing and big data, and AI-based in the video analysis. So they all would give you the kind of the prediction of the events and plan optimal routes for your travel or for the public transportation. And also keep the roads safe. You detect any kind of accidents or debris or car allocation or traveling and all kinds of things, and optimize road usage and reduce congestion. And also V2X, the vehicle to everything. So this based on IoT sensors and telecommunication devices, and including 5G, you're going to automate traffic signal and electronic toll collection, ticket purchasing, and other things. And basically, your cars and every transportation vehicles and devices, they all connected, including like called basically in no matter it's self-driving cars or the self-driving vehicle is more than just the cars. For example, scooters, and you can hop on the scooters for short distance travel. So all of those, they're all connected together. And also mass mobility as a service. So this would give you a best transportation means to reduce your travel times, and also you can improve the user experience and book tickets for your trip. So there are other terminology like automatic vehicle locating system and passenger information system, depot management system, planning scheduling system, incident management system. All of them really just optimize the planning and improve the efficiency and improve the safety. And also, of course, optimize management, as we mentioned. So the global market size for the smart transportation is in last year was 98 billion US dollar. So it's projected to increase to more than 200 billion in 2028. This is a global market in the US. So by 2028, the market going to increase. We exceed the 20 billion, maybe more than that, because U.S. market is a significant part of the global market still. So when we're talking about the IP protection, so you have to realize what the IP risk, why you need to protect it. You can see that although those litigation just seems only based on the car makers or the basically the automobile manufacturers like Ford, Toyota, GM. So you can see that the number of litigations against the business depends on the sales. So Ford is number one sales sometime, or Toyota. But you can see that the majority of the IP litigation came from NPE. I'm not sure if you heard that terminology or not. Basically, it's called non-practicing entity, which means They don't make any products. They even don't do any kind of research development. The only product for them is patents. They either file patents, prosecute patents themselves, as many of you heard the Intellectual Venture, which is headquartered in Seattle, and many other companies. The only business for them is acquire patents, sell patents, license patents. If you don't pay them licensing fee, they sue you. So those called patent non-practicing entities. Sometimes they had the more nasty terminology called patent troll, which means the monster. They jump at you and saying, this road, I set up a tool, you have to pay the fee in order passing through my castle or this domain, this territory. So you can consider the patent or IP as a castle, or you just circle a certain technology domain as your territory. Anyone bypass or passing through your territory, they have to pay you. Just like a highway toll booth, you have to pay in order to get through. And you all see that today's what we mentioned, intelligent transportation technology is hard hit on the litigation, because they all kind of more or less related to the software-based invention and artificial intelligence based or IoT-based invention. So those you don't need to hold out people to do the research development. And even like any of you may have some kind of idea, you can file a patent. And someday, maybe your patent can worth $100,000 or even millions of dollars, or even much more than that. So really in the intelligent transportation industry, so you have to have some kind of, in order for you to compete with your competitors, you have to have some kind of patents and to reach some kind of IP peace, because if you sue me, I'm going to sue you. So that really like a nuclear weapon. We all know now Russia invaded into Ukraine, and the Russian threat kind of put down the high alert on the using its nuclear weapon. So U.S. and other country who has nuclear bomb, they are in a high alert. But no one has ever taken any kind of action yet, except during World War II, U.S. threw the bomb and in order to end the war. But since World War II, no one used them yet. Why? Because everyone afraid of the consequence and you cannot afford. So IP really you can consider in a similar strategy. So I own enough IP, no one else can sue me, because if you sue me, I'm going to fight back and you cannot afford the consequence. But this only for the company who manufacturing or selling the products, real products, not for the NPE. So you have to consider NPE. And also, we'll discuss trade secret later. And also the traditional, the automobile or ITS company might be sued by a new entrant. For example, we all know that nowadays the semiconductor or chips is a key part of our vehicle or transportation, because the shortage of the chips, you cannot buy many of the very popular cars not available in stock. You have to wait for a long period of time in order to get your car. So that give the leverage to those component suppliers, including the chip makers, software makers. They may sue you. And also the NPE, like here listed in intellectual property venture, Parker Vision, White Line, and others. So And the trade secret is another big thing in the intelligent transportation industry. So you all probably heard the Waymo, basically the Google, that subsidiary of Google's self-driving company sued Uber. So we all know that Uber is probably many of you have used the Uber services, but you probably have not used the Uber self-driving service yet because they're not launched yet. So this guy, very famous guy, very intelligent, very smart guy called Mr. Lewandowski. He graduated from Berkeley University, and while he was studying there, he invented the self-driving motorcycle. So he's very intelligent. And later on, he joined Google, and then he founded another company, OTTO, basically runs a self-driving, like a big truck, the 18-wheeler auto-driving service company. And then he sold then OTTO to Uber for, I believe that's almost 30 or 70 million US dollars. He sold that, and then he joined Uber. So then Waymo and Google found this out. They sued him and Uber for trade secret theft. And this big fight, they found out he took thousands of documents, and before he left Waymo, joined Uber. So this case, the trade secret related to the leader. So we all know that the leader is Lisa. We know that the reader and the leader basically the laser navigation system for self-driving. So this ended up they settled for a big cost. And also that was in China, in US, and also in China. Probably some of you heard of the Geely, and they sued another competitor, Welt Minister, for trade secret theft. They're asking for 2.1 billion RMB. So converted into divided by 6 or 7, you can know that is a big trade secret case as well. So again, it's from former employees. So you can know, I know many of you probably still very young, either you're in college or kind of not plan to enter college. But sooner or later in the future, you know that if you join some company, even you develop the technology yourself in that company, but then IP belongs to your company, not to yourself, unless you're doing totally different thing, not using any kind of resource or your work time, or based on any kind of existing technology of your company, that probably belongs to you. Otherwise, everything you developed during your employment at your company, then IP belongs to your company. When you live clean. Don't take any kind of USB flash drive. Don't send any confidential information to your personal email address. Don't take screenshots of the important and confidential information. Don't do that. Otherwise, so in the US, the Defense Trade Secret Act and state law going to pursue you and your employer for huge damages, but also the wrongdoer might be prosecuted for criminal liabilities. So how to resolve the litigation? So here I'll give you an example that Nibot is a robotics company, and sued by Segway. So Segway, you know that many people you have used Segway products, and it's very fancy. And they sued about 8 or 9 Chinese companies. One of them was a Chinese startup company called Nibot. And NIBAR, although small, and Segway is private-owned company, they calculate the litigation cost and potential damages for infringement damages. They got funding from Xiaomi and other financial institute to purchase the acquired plaintiff, so resolve the litigation. And now NIBAR is the biggest company in this kind of personal transportation robot industry. They started suing other competitors. Yeah, so due to the time limitation, I'm going fast. So I think from very beginning, you would know that you can monetize your ideas, for example, based on the pattern. And you don't need to establish great company like Amazon, Google, Apple, those great company. But actually, you may just based on some very valuable pattern, you can make you rich, make you a big, millionaire. If you're smart enough, you may just based on this become billionaire. So I just share some idea with you, and so you can licensing your patents just like intellectual venture is doing. And I know some friends, what they do is just talk to people and get some idea. He went back to write patent, file patent. Later on, he sell the same trying to sell the same patent to big company like Amazon, Google, Apple, Facebook, all the same time. They all know he's a kind of reputable guy. If they don't buy it, their competitors going to purchase it. So every year he doesn't need to do a lot. He only sell 1 or 2 patents. That's kind of close to $1 million income. So he's living a very kind of pleasant and luxury life. You can see that your idea was a lot of money. Another thing that if you kind of reach out, people don't want to buy your patent or they don't want to pay your royalty. What do? You hire a lawyer like me to litigate for you. So litigation always as a backup force for licensing business. And also, of course, you can sell your patent at the same time, just like a stock, you sell, you buy, and like patent trading. So make a great fortune, like intellectual venture and many other, including Google, Apple, and other big companies. They are selling and buying patents to make fortune. So I'm going to switch this part. Probably those just I can give you why litigation matters. You see, VLSI wins 1.8 billion US dollar against Intel as patent infringement damages, and average or median damages for patent litigation you can see all about 5 million. So it's a kind of good investment, and you have good return. So how to build effective IP portfolio to protect your idea in the smart or intelligent transportation industry. So you have 4 ways to protect it. Initially, you have your idea, but you don't know how to protect it. Here's 4 categories IP can help protect your idea or your IP. So if it is a machine or method or manufacturer or composition of matter, so basically the structure, function, or products, you can protect them under the patent. You can have design patent. Design basically any kind of design, declaration, or any kind of those type of thing, you can protect them under the design patent. But for any function and structure related or composition matter like formulas of your special or algorithm, so you can because any kind of the artificial intelligence or robotics, you always based on some kind of algorithm. You build an algorithm into machine, make the machine work for you to perform tasks. So then you can file called utility patent. And then if you have any kind of original expression, basically that's you write something on the paper, on the fixed medium, even like you share on the online or anything. Those, because although post online, but then treated as even you download on your machine for just a second, that's treated as a copy on your some fixed medium, then treated as a copyright infringement. So if you have any kind of published any great writing, you can protect your copyright, or some kind of design. For example, you have 3D design that can be protected under copyright law as well. And if you want to, for example, Julia, if you want to protect your name and you come up with some kind of special name, trying to name your service or goods to let the consumer identify the origins of your goods and service, you can apply to register your trademark or can use as common law. So if registered, you can use circle R as registered trademark. Otherwise, it's TM. It's basically it's common law trademark. US is a use first trademark policy. Basically, if you use first, you apply, you will get it. But if you use first, you don't register. Someone else registered, they used later. So they're going to cover out the territory you used your common law trademark. But the rest of the United States, they can that's their territory. So it's good if you use first and also register your trademark first. And also patent, I forgot to mention that if you have any patent application filed, including the provisional application, provisional patent application is you have basically idea, but you don't want to spend that much money yet to apply for a patent. You can disclose, not disclose, it's filed, it's not going to be published before you file non-provisional or formal patent application. That's going to be secret. So you disclose to the U.S. Patent Office your ideas, your invention. That's called provisional application. So within 12 months, you can convert into a formal or non-provisional patent application. Then you can put on your products or your website or your service website says patent pending. After you get a patent, you can say, you put on your patent number there, or you have the website and the specific web page says Julia's patent. You list out all pending applications and granted patents. So we talk about the patent, copyright, trademark, and they all basically can be treated as a public disclosure. But another thing, very important part is trade secret. The most important, most valuable your business information probably would be protected under trade secret. So this trade secret, what is trade secret? Trade secret is business or technology information not generally known in the industry, and provide you independent economic value or competition advantage over your competitors. And also you have taken reasonable measure to protect the secrecy. So that would be treated as a trade secret. The trade secret, the best example is Coca-Cola. We all know that's more than 100 years old ingredients and the formulas of the Coca-Cola drinks. And then it's protected. That was billions of US dollars by that secret formulas. So you can see the value of the trade secret, and that's kind of the core value or the most important your business information or technology information. So how to protect that? Usually you have to designate as confidential and only let the people who who has need to access them, and never let one person or small group people get hold of the whole or 100% of your trade secret. It's a good idea to divide into small pieces, and every group of people only access to the then portion of the small portion of trade secret, and also every time you have the record, you store that in database. You have track and the footprints if anyone access that, and also anyone want to access beyond their authority, they have to get written approval authorization from the management team. So that is going to protect you. So all of those you can either build great company like Apple, Amazon, and other great company yourself to make big fortune, or you can license them out, or you can spin off the company and sold your company to big company. Yeah, there's many good ways to do this. Let me give you just the last part. I'm going to send Julia my slides so you all can read it if you're interested. So what kind of the pattern IPO mainly focused on the pattern? What kind of pattern strategy you should adopt to really, what is best pattern king strategy? So it is hard to say. So you can see, I can provide you two examples. One is Polaroid. I'm not sure how many people still using Polaroid product, or have you ever heard of the Polaroid? Our generation, we use this. For example, I travel to a place. At that time, no digital camera yet, no smartphone yet. So you don't have the camera and how to take picture in one beautiful city. So some guy provides this service, use Polaroid instant imaging camera and take picture and develop the photo for you within minutes and scan to you. So initially Kodak, you probably all heard of the Kodak, and also was in the traditional film-based camera business, but they are making digital camera now. So Kodak trying to get licensed, and Polaroid refused, and Kodak lost patent litigation and paid more than $1 billion damages. But later on, Polaroid almost out of business. They are small part of the business still exists, and Kodak sold. Kodak was a business not doing great either, but the result is that if you don't allow other competitors, other players into the market, do you know what? They're going to invent new technology. They're going to obsolete or outdate your technology. No one going to use your technology. That was happened to Polaroid. And we all know later on the digital camera came into play and replaced the Polaroid old technology completely. So another strategy is we call it Tesla strategy. We know Elon Musk, he's a very smart guy, and number one, he's the richest person in the planet, and he basically promote his patent strategy as says Tesla will not initiate a patent lawsuit against anyone who in good faith wants to use our technology. That was an announcement in 2014. So it sounds like he offered people to use his patent for free, but you have to be a good faith. But why he still applying for and filing so many patent applications every year, if he offers his patent for free to use? Actually, basically, he's playing like a tollway operator, or he's like a king of his kingdom. if you want to use my technology, you have to be my friends, my airlines. So you cannot be my enemy. Otherwise, I'm going to sue you for patent infringement. Why he needs to do that? Because we all know that Tesla is trying to promote his electrical cars and also self-driving technology-based services. He needs a lot of support. He needs, for example, for the electrical car, he needs the quick charger and also battery maker and a lot of the component suppliers and also software suppliers to support his industry. So he created a kingdom. He's kind of self-nominated himself as a king. He decided what the game rule in his industry, in his kingdom. So you can consider the Polaroid strategy versus Tesla strategy to come out the best strategy that fits in your business needs and fits in your business industry. I think I can stop here. And if you have any question, so we can have Q&A session, Julia.
All right. So yeah, great presentation. We do have a couple questions here. So the first one is, how much of the S&P 500 is the areas of robotics and smart transportation?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. I don't have that data yet. I can get back to you, or you can Google it. So probably you would find that how much product percentage, and nowadays we all know that especially in nowadays high tech based company, they all probably occupy the majority of the SP 500 by nowadays. So you can, based on that, you can consider that a significant portion of those high company would be somehow related to the smart transportation or robotics. Just like Apple, we know that they're making the famous for the personal communication devices like iPhone, iWatch, iPod, iPad, and those. But they also making self-driving cars and making other kind of robotics, AI-based devices. So and including even Amazon and Google. Yeah. So and so even like a traditional company, after they have enough money, they acquire those high tech companies, or invest in the high tech company or in the industry. So they all have somehow related to, either directly or indirectly related to the robotics and the smart transportation.
All right. Wow, interesting. Okay, so the next question is, which technology trend, I think this was one of the earlier slides, do you think has made the biggest impact?
What technology trend? Yeah, I would think the MaaS, mobility as a service. So I think that going to, so just like we think about this, just like we heard of the SaaS,
Yeah.
software as a service, so that's cloud computing kind of service. So MaaS are going to be, I think, really like a SaaS, going to be the
Right.
big thing, because that kind of covers everything else like IoT or big data or artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Okay, great. And the next one is, what events can like largely impact the global transportation market? Like what world events do you think would impact it?
Yeah, like a COVID-19, the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there like anything else? Like
Yeah, so and also we can see the congestion of the traffic, and you have to find a smart way to manage your city transportation. Otherwise, people are reluctant to go back to the office every day, and also going to create a lot of barriers for our business growth. I think the and also, I mentioned the COVID-19 basically, and that's health and it's unexpected. But the advance of the technology, like the 5G or in the future 6G or 7G, and also, we all know that Macverse, metaverse, and we all know that all of those advance of the technology sometimes may not be based on the one single technology, but sometimes if you accumulate enough technology, suddenly you would find out they all merged and create some new business opportunity and kind of create the technology revolution. I think so all of this technology we just covered, maybe someday they all kind of advance to a certain level. Suddenly, they would bring a new, it's a revolution for the global transportation market.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. The next question is, I think you covered a little bit of this already. Is there anything you should look out for when trying to patent something?
Oh yeah, let me go back this slide. So when you apply, again, who's asking?
This is Isha. Isha Jane.
Isha. Yeah, great. Yeah, you're smart, very smart. So not when you apply a patent, don't make them too complicated to extent that only you can infringe your patent, only you can use your patent. No one else is going to use your complicated technology. So you have when you apply for patent, you have to prepare that with an eye toward enforcement. Basically, what type of infringing activity I'm going to face? Who is the infringer? Where's the greatest value? So what type of infringing activity, which means you cover the manufacturing of the products, you cover you cover the selling, you cover the use. What type of the activity you're going to cover, and who is the infringer? You sue the manufacturer, distributor, the wholesaler, consumer, or your customer. So usually you want to sue the one with deepest pocket. So you don't want to sue consumer because that's millions, billions of consumers. You cannot sue them one by one, and the consumers are your customers. Don't sue your customers. Basically, that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
And you sue sue the company in all basically all segment of the business or in that a supply chain or that life cycle. So to see which part, either your supplier, your competitor, your downstream user, but not your end user, your end customer. So you have to consider those, and also which part of the its greatest value is to protect. For example, the method of the performing certain tasks. For example, if AI related, today we're talking about robotics. We're talking about to protect the robotics itself, the hardware or software or algorithm or the machine manufacturer, the robotics or any kind of industry or business using the robotics. For which part, and otherwise you apply the patent only you can use and no one else going to use. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. Okay, great. I think that answered it. And then the last question is, what was the most interesting or biggest case that you've worked on in IP protection, like as a lawyer?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have many cases. The most interesting or biggest. The most interest might not be the biggest case. So most interest case I handled. The case involved copyright infringement and trade secret misappropriation and patent infringement. So that case kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that without revealing the identity my clients. So basically, a group of people they came out the former employer worked for the new company. Even some of them they moonlighting. So they basically before they officially quit from the former employer, they started working for their new employer. So they sometimes
Oh,
they send a lot of the confidential information to their personal emails or to new employer. And many years later, the former employer sued this new competitor and those former employees for
wow.
for copyright infringement, for trade secret misappropriation, and for patent infringement. So I'll give you one example. So this guy, he wrote 100 lines of code. That code is an algorithm based on the textbook algorithm, but he thought algorithm is public, right? So code developed by me within an hour. So, but this is a commonly used tool. So I'm going to reuse this in the future just in case. I emailed to myself and he forgot it. Later on, he joined this new employer. He suddenly remembered that I don't need to rewrite this part of the function. I just reuse what I developed myself. He didn't understand that piece of code he wrote at the former employer belongs to that company, not to himself. So later on, the patent infringement and trade secret misappropriation, the jury verdict didn't give much damages, but then 100 lines code, you guess how much money jury attribute to that 100 lines code. So
Yeah, all right.
half
Wow.
million for one line of code.
Oh my God.
So that guy is
Crazy.
his 100 lines code is the most expensive source code probably in the history.
Well, I would say that's pretty interesting. I mean,
Yeah, it's not biggest case. I had
yeah.
a biggest case that involved much more damages later on. But that I think the most interesting because the success of the business has many reasons, but the failure of your company you can find some common phenomena. So what I just described is very common among many field business.
All right. Thank you. That's really interesting. I think that's all of the questions. So thank you so much for this presentation. It was very educational. I think that IP protection is something that is really common in our lives, but we don't hear about it a lot. So this was really interesting and impactful. So thank you so much for taking the time to present this to our community. And thank you everyone for watching. But I think that's it for today. Do you have anything
Yes,
else to say?
thank you, Julia, and the organization to invite me to share. So, by the way, the title should be protection, not production.
Oh
IP
yeah, I changed
protection. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It was a great pleasure to talking to you, and my my contact information is listed here. If you're interested, you can reach out to me through the LinkedIn or my email or use my phone. If you want to, discuss or share with me any of your feedbacks.
Yeah, and I'll try to figure out a way to put this presentation so we could share it to everyone, so people can look over it and read some slides. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay,
All right.
thank you, everyone. Thank you, Julia.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
good night.